it's gone well away to the right hand side, and it's a missed opportunity. 24 points apiece, 24 points to 3-15. Nicky O'Connell is one of those to join the fray in the last few minutes. Anthony Nash pucking it out. The crowd just getting behind both teams, raising the volume. And once again it is Clare who look magnificent at half-back line. Bugler there, superb. Ryan has been superb all through the match. That's Conor Ryan. What about this as he got in there against Seamus Harnedy and came out with possession? Wasn't going to be denied. Young man who I believe is now teaching in Kilkenny, and they'll have lots to talk about over the winter, I'm sure, in that hurling mad county. And he looks like he's in trouble with that injury, and Davy Fitzgerald just making sure that every possible gap in the system is filled immediately.
Yeah, it looks like a dead leg, and they're just amazed with Cork maybe persevering with the long puck out. You know, Donlow Cusack will be on tonight, he'll have a view on it. I'm sure he's in the studio watching the match, or he's here. But you know, they never went short with any, and they kept pucking it down that half-back line, who dominated possession. And it's really amazing that Cork are still in this game with the amount of ball that Clare have won in their half-back line, but they have kept plugging away. They've showed great heart, great determination, and now 2 minutes to go. Can go either way.
Will he go try it? Will he go for a point this time?
Well, he's gone back to take it, so he must feel he has the distance.
The last one he lobbed in, but this time he's going to drop it short. It's time for somebody to stand up and become the hero. Tony Kelly might be that player. Now he's put it wide, and we're inside the last 2 minutes of the 70. Clare will feel that on balance they have been much the better team and should win this final, but sheer dogged determination by Cork and plenty of quality as well within their ranks has kept them going, and those 3 goals have been so important. The next man who will be coming in very shortly will be Shane Amori. So possession now vital here. Nicky O'Connell managed to get it away. Clare's second half sub, putting the pressure there on Stephen McDonald. Drops it down, and it's taken by Shane O'Neill. Nobody wants to give away the ball loosely here this time. It's important just to retain the possession. That time it was Stephen White who held on. Line ball for Clare, however, and the pressure back on. 69 minutes gone in the final. Clare 24 points, Cork 3-15. So who's going to win it now? Well, you're usually pretty good at reading the tea leaves. How do you see it?
Well, I think Stephen White was very unlucky not to get a free there. He won possession, he was shoved in the back, he didn't get it. I think Brian Gavin will be very happy to blow it up if it gets to 70 minutes for a draw match.
This should be cut out. Chris Joyce coming across here. McInerney's after him, McGrath's after him, and finally they catch up with him. Again they dig in here, just trying to get that vital possession. Close to the end of the 70 minutes. Back out it comes. Look where Conor McGrath has gone back to, about left corner back. Up here towards Podge Collins. If there's to be another score here now, it'll probably be the winning of the All-Ireland final. Podge Collins hops it on the ground, gets it back again, loses it to Cathal Naughton. Naughton goes way back, tries to fend off Tony Kelly, and sends it out over the sideline, off the Clare stick. It's got to be a line ball, and there are going to be 2 minutes of added time now, and we're into that, as you can see already, with the match tied, tantalisingly so.
Yeah, well, Jerry, if Clare hang on for a draw or win it, Conor McGrath, he made some ground. He travelled back 70 yards there and caught Christopher Joyce, took the ball off him, and he saw Cathal Naughton doing the very same thing there on Podge Collins. Some great effort into the 70th minute in All-Ireland final. Great tackling.
Oh, it's wonderful stuff. Absolutely magnificent stuff by both these teams. Chris Joyce cut in. Onto it here comes Horgan. Can he be the match winner? Will this be the winner of the All-Ireland? It's over the bar! Patrick Horgan gets a 10th. 1 minute of stoppage time still to go, and Cork go in front here by 3-16 to 24 points. It would be very cruel on Clare, but then this is a day for winners. Who's going to do it? Advantage Cork. Back out it comes again to Cathal Naughton. Cathal Naughton taking off. We know he's got pace. Pat Donlan is after him and flicks it away. There's a support player there waiting for it, and that ball is hit in there by Stephen Moylan, and finally won back by Park Kelly. 30 seconds or thereabouts to go. He's been hounded across over there by Luke O'Farrell, out over the far sideline. Line ball coming up. A line ball to Cork, and the Cork fans all around Croke Park are on their feet at this stage. What a winner that would be by Pat Horgan, one of the stars of the day, on a day when Clare have certainly been the better team, but Jimmy Barry's Murphy's side look like they're about to snatch the victory. Stephen Moylan ready to hit this.
And he needs it to go dead when the game is over.
Hits it in and hits it wide. Almost there. Jimmy Barry Murphy looks like he's done it. It looks like he's brought a Cork team from nowhere to win the championship. A few seconds remaining. Clare won one more chance. That's Pat O'Connor. Inside it comes here. Nicky O'Connell now, trying to fend off challenges. Back out it comes once again to Donal O'Donovan. They would deserve a draw. They get a draw. Donal O'Donovan puts it over the bar. And Davy Fitzgerald and Clare, I think, will be back here. The referee has allowed the quick puck out to be taken. It's still in play no longer. It's all over. And it's ended in a magnificent draw at Croke Park. For the second year in a row, the teams in the final have to come back and do it all again. We won't complain. Jimmy Barry Murphy must have felt he had the game won 60 seconds ago. Davy Fitzgerald must have feared the worst. But how about that?
Well, Gerard,
heroes everywhere.
I have to say, there's a little bit of booing from the Cork club because it was maybe 30 seconds in over the 2 minutes, but that's at the referee's discretion. But what a score to draw in an Ireland final from a corner back. What was he doing up there?
Who's never scored before.
He's never scored before in the championship. He had an outstanding game at corner back for a lot of the game. How he was up in that position, I'll never know. But that was a brilliant score off his left-hand side. And you'd have to say on the balance of play that Clare would deserve a draw in this game. A fantastic second half. The first half was a little bit, nervous, and players were, I don't know, the whole occasion as we thought might get there. But the second half, we had absolutely everything. A phenomenal second half. We had goals, we had fantastic scores. What did Clare end up with? 25 points in an All-Ireland final, and not to win at 25 scores from play. But Cork stuck at it, they didn't give in, and we'll be back here, I don't know, towards the end of September for a second edition. I can't wait.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, the last draw was last year, and before that it was 1959. It's like the buses, two come along at once. Yeah,
well, Liam Shealy said to me, we were coming over in a taxi this morning, he said 14-1 with Paddy Powers for the draw. So look at that was maybe the bet to have a little few quid on that. A great game, and well done to both sides.
And this is how it's finished. The full-time score: Clare 25 points, Cork 3 goals and 16. Let's go down to Clare.
And well done to both sides.
And this is how it's finished. The full-time score: Clare 25 points, Cork 3 goals and 16. Let's go down to Clare.
Jimmy, can you quite believe that finish? Did you think you had won it?
Yeah, I thought we might have nicked it in the end. Probably wouldn't have deserved it maybe on the day. Clare were outstanding, I thought, and we struggled at lots of the game, but the lads showed great spirit, fantastic character to come back, and draws a fair result, I think.
It was a game you were chasing right from the off.
Yeah, we didn't play well today in the first half in particular. I thought Clare were very, very good, and they always had a step or two ahead of us, but our lads showed great character as well, and as I said already, I think it draws a fair result.
And of course, 3 goals keeping you there.
Yeah, we needed the goals badly, and we haven't got many goals all year, but certainly we needed them today.
I suppose it's often an anticlimax when there's a draw. How are you feeling now?
Well, it's an anticlimax for everybody, but that's the way it goes. We're lucky to be everything to fight again next day.
You think it's a fair result?
I think it was a very fair result.
Okay, thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, James.
I reckon. I think 27 or 28 seconds.
Thanks indeed to Michael Dignan and to Ger Canning. And lads, you can take a well-earned break after that, because that was hectic, to say the very least of it. Enjoying that here with me in our studio, of course, Cyril, Liam and Eddie. Lads, I know you've hardly had time to gather your thoughts just yet. A draw, I suppose, the fairest result.
The Shannon will be swept up this evening. Donovan nearly lives on top of it. Cornerback Donovan hardly ever scored in his life. Maybe an own goal for Clare or for Clonlara now and again. But there he goes up, gets a point. Listen, fantastic game of hurling. Brilliant goals, brilliant points. Cork stood in the game, but like as the boys were saying here, blown up. A draw was a fair result. You'd hate to see anyone losing. Now Cork stood in the game with 3 goals, brilliant shots, nothing you could do about them. Clare proved themselves that they're a good team with all them scores and points. And I think it's great to be coming back again whenever in a few weeks' time.
And Liam Sheedy, the remarkable thing about it is we hadn't a draw since Adam was a small boy last year. We got a draw and another one again this year.
No, and I said it before the match. There was always a chance of a draw. I mean, it was going to be nip and tuck, but I mean, Cork. The sideline ball, I'm not sure why they went for it. I mean, with the time up on the clock, I would have knocked that ball into the corner and tussled for it. But look, that's all history now. I mean, look, in fairness, Clare were the team that done most of the hurling today. To be fair to them, I think they imposed themselves on Cork. They had the better of the first half. They were in control, and goals kept. To be honest with you, goals were keeping Cork in the game more so than giving them the impetus to go on. And like the first time they took the lead was in the 70th minute. They didn't lead all day, and they just said, "Oh, I mean, it would have been heartbreak for Clare." But I think no one will be disappointed going out of the stadium today. A draw was a fair result. We've seen a fantastic All-Ireland final in 2013.
It would have been heartbreak for Clare, Eddie Brennan, but having said that, you must give Cork the greatest of credit for fighting the way they did in that match.
Absolutely, Michael. It was an unbelievable. We heard Davey talking about it. I heard about Today FM there during the week about this heart monitor. I tell you, we could have done with a few of them here because it was that exciting, like, and as Liam said, they're coming in. We're not part of the game. It's not part of our counties. But what a game! Yeah. It was just to the very end. And Patrick Horgan. I mean, what a point at the day to put their team up. And Donald Donovan out of nowhere. But I suppose look, it would have been heartbreaking to see either team go away, particularly Clare. I thought Clare done the most. But Cork were just hanging on to their coattails all day long. And I think the one thing that's probably going to create a little stir is there was 2 minutes put up. And
go away with that, for God's sake. Well, we need the replay, for God's sake. Cork got 3 goals, for God's sake.
I know. That's grand, sir, when you're leaning for Clare. But to be fair, I think either side, without a doubt, it would have been heartbreaking to see either beaten. There has to be a winner, there has to be a loser, unfortunately. And I just think that Cork will probably say, why wasn't it blown? It was the 20...
72-03 on it.
Yeah, but
then I suppose, Eddie, to pick up on what Liam said, they had an opportunity to just poke the ball into the corner and start
we said it here, we said, look, put it into the corner like the soccer boys do.
He gave the goalkeeper a chance to poke it out.
Score that had killed any team, for God's sake. A ball came in here, Nash took it down, Podge Collins came running through, he thought he was playing soccer, went to kick it, didn't clip it in. A great save, down the far into the far in the field, back of the net. That would kill a lot of teams. I was saying to Liam, I said, if Clare can win this, there's some team, because they're getting hit with killer blows. Cork are hanging in, getting great goals. Just going into the 70 minutes, they go in front and say, well, here, Cork again. Tradition again, the Rebels, here we go. I think it's great to have a replay, and I can't wait for it to come.
To some character.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy Barry Murphy deserves a fair amount of credit, because I know as a manager, like Conor Lehan and Pat Cronin, they had very limpish first halves by their standards, and he stuck with him. He obviously seen what they can do in training, and like Conor Lehan came in and got a goal to bring them back into it. But Pat Cronin's goal was absolutely top drawer, top corner, and like he'd never really found his rhythm. But Jimmy stuck with him, gave him his chance, and he took his chance to the finish. But it was just pulsating game all through.
And the bottom line is, Eddie, and we talked about this before the match, Cork 1 goal in the championship up to today, 3 in 35 minutes.
Yeah, and probably Anthony Nash will miss 2 as well, so he probably feel they could have had another, but them goals ultimately kept Cork in this match because their forwards, from their own puck-outs, it make a very interesting stat. I don't think they won. Seamus Harmony caught one in the second half and got a master point off it. He was not the only one that was plucking ball out of the sky.
What is interesting though is the thing is this: usually the goals win matches. Cork got 3 goals and didn't win the match. Now I know they're chasing it, but the last one, like, they put them in the driving seat and they still didn't win. So like, if Clare could have knocked in a goal or 2, the
timing of it was perfect. Ideally, I'd say, look, it was a great time to come and finish off a match. But to be fair to Clare, to stay coming back, not to once hang their heads, and even after the second goal, they were still in front, and even Colin Ryan missed probably 2 at the stage of the match. They may have been the difference, and look, them are the thin lines, them are the little inches that you'd be always saying you're scraping for. But all in all, mighty game of hurling.
We will, by the way, confirm when the replay will be as soon as we get official confirmation of that. And the one little complication, this actually happened, of course, last year as well, is that the normal date will be the week after the football final. That is the date of the ladies' football final, so there'll have to be a little bit of a discussion.
Yeah, and I think last year the same thing happened. I think that is it's provisionally booked. Well, the football final is on, but if any happens to the hurling final, they have to kind of give way, But I think Michael, after the game, I thought Jim Barry Murphy kind of hit on the nail on the head. It'd be very hard. He'd love to have won, of course, but like he's a great manager and he's a great sportsman. He did realise that if Cork won it, they might have stolen all Ireland. That's it, they play great stuff. Whereas Clare did all the hurling, and if they were beaten, to be a great one to win. But I look, the next 3 or 4 weeks can't come fast enough because we're going to have another thriller.
I'd say, if you were a Cork man, you'd be happy enough to nick it out of a shop if you could get it.
Well, I'd say the better men, they'd be happy if they'd leave the car to go back down Lee side tonight, but they will know they didn't play well. And, like everyone would say that they would have won it without really playing to the standard that I think we'd come to expect. They were outplayed in many sectors. Their forward line were non-existent. I mean, Conor Ryan at centre back for Clare was just colossal all day.
Today,
snapping ball out of the sky, and came up and put them 4 points up with him, a mammoth point in that second half. And you just felt all the momentum was with Clare, but goals, they just kept dragging themselves back into the game. And as I said, full credit. I mean, we've seen professional guys on Friday night trying to kick a ball around the Aviva. Look what we've seen out here today from amateurs. I think they deserve huge credit.
Friday night are getting pages. He didn't want to score.
They deserve huge credit. Huge credit.
Well, I'll tell you something, for the last couple of weeks, people just couldn't make their minds up who's going to win this All-Ireland, and you know what, they still can't. All right, we're going to have more analysis and reaction after our next break here on the programme. Now, before that, it is competition time for you. At least you can be a winner today. There's a week's holiday in the Maldives up for grabs. I thought you might like that. Here's how you can enter.
Occasion when Podge Collins had his chance, it was probably game over. There was a hammer blow because it went down the other end and finished up in the net. But 25 points, and you know, had a 9 wides as well. Cork only had 3. You know, so really they did play the better hurling, as I said. Very unlucky not to be All-Ireland champions this evening, in my view. We're clear, but they will know now. They'll take a certain amount of belief out of the way they played today. You know, so I'm sure they'll be looking forward to going back training again and getting ready to come back up to Dublin again whenever the replay is on.
And it leaves the two of them in an intriguing situation, Eddie, because Clare will know they probably should have won. Cork will say to themselves, look, in a kind of a way we got away with that. And sometimes you can build on that as well.
Absolutely, and what we're probably forgetting as well is a lot of them Clare boys have to go hurl the 21 on Ireland next weekend, which is another big thing that's going into the mix. But yeah, Cork will definitely look at today and say they didn't do themselves justice up front in particular. You know, Seamus Harmony, with limited possession, had some battle with Conor Ryan. Yeah. Conor Ryan caught a couple of great balls, but Harmony still plucked his 2 points. He was probably one of the only forwards that looked anyway threatened. The rest of them, after Patrick Horgan, you know, he could throw a sheet over them really. But at the same time, they've lots to work on. Jimmy will surely say to them, look lads, only for the goals, and it's a stick to beat him with essentially. And Davey will definitely reinforce, look lads, you done enough, you know what you have to do, it's about going out and doing that again. So it sets up an intriguing battle. I mean, the club championship, as we know, Kenny last year took a big blow. Clare now are going to get it out. No doubt Davey is saying there'll be no sneaking in around the championship between now and the replay, definitely.
I hear what Eddie is saying in the sense that the Cork forwards didn't do themselves justice, certainly maybe in the first half, but in the second half, in terms of getting goals, they did. Yeah, and let's have a look at Conor Lehan's goal.
Yeah, they still got 316. This guy has a skill, like playing for UCC. Now Nash is driving the ball. Maybe it's a little bit of breeze with Cork in the second half. And as the boy says, didn't.
Cyril said has to cope with not only a replay, but some of his players involved in that under-21 final next week. Let's get his thoughts now with Clare.
Davey, this incredible championship goes to another day. What's your overriding emotion now?
Well, if we'd have lost that, it's all the same anyhow, in my opinion. I thought we played unreal stuff, so we did today. A lot of things out there I could talk about, but I'm just going to leave it be, and we've another day out in 3 weeks' time.
Are you left with some anger or frustration?
People aren't blind out there, so just leave it at that. That's it. We've got to go to battle again, and we'll go out there to battle, and we'll see what happens. You know, it'll, like the good thing with Clare and Cork, they're 2 good hurling teams, and they give everything a head outside there today, and it's probably great for the neutral to watch. Maybe not so great for us, you know.
You don't want to elaborate on anything else for us?
No.
Was it a game you should have won, Davey?
Yeah, we had it won a few times, and they kept being brought back into it, you know. But that's the way it goes, you know. We're only the small little fish out there, so we are, and we're trying hard to make it through. But it's hard to get the breaks when you're the smaller fish.
You did survive a lot that was thrown at you. 3 goals, a penalty saved.
Yeah, you look at it like the opportunities that were presented to Cork were fairly unreal, and they hit us blow after blow, and we kept coming back. But it's tough on the lads. They're young lads, and they keep having to deal with blow after blow, but they dealt with it, and I'm extremely proud of them. So I am, and fair play to Cork. It was a good hurling game, so it was out there, and it'll be exciting again the next day, and I just have to try and get the boys rallied again, so I do. But didn't it show some heart at the end when the game looked over to go back up that field? And Donovan, probably if I'd picked one to score a point, I don't know what I'd picked Donny, you know, but he did the business, fair play to him.
He did the business. Of course, you've got a lot of players involved in the under-21 final as well. How's that going to work?
Yeah, it's a big ask for us. Week after week after week. It's going to be very hard to get them up again in 2 or 3 weeks' time, so it is. But so we'll turn up and see what happens anyhow.
Today will be a huge experience for them, though. Will that help towards the belief the next day?
Well, you see how they handle themselves today. They let themselves go, and I thought they played some lovely patches of hurling, you know. There was 2 yellows there in the first half. I don't know, should have been 2 yellows, to tell you the truth. We're a bit unlucky maybe, but I was very happy the way they played. I thought they let themselves go unreal, and in fairness to Cork, I have to say, like, they fought back unreal. So they gave every single thing, and they never give up either. And you'd expect that from Cork. They're a great hurling county, so they are, and they're going to throw the kitchen sink at you anyhow. So it's never over. And I'd say the next day will be unreal as well.
Do you think that should have been a sending off, the 2 yellows you referred to there?
I don't know. Sure, you're the one with the cameras. I'm not sure. Only what I'm told. So I'll leave it to you. I'm not going to get involved in that. Like, we would prefer, I suppose, in all fairness, to play 15 and 15, and let's see what happens.
It's been an incredible journey. Can you do it the next day?
Oh, we can, yeah. We'll be trying. We'll be trying hard. So we will. Are we up against it? We are. So we are, just with all the matches and everything. But you know what? I'll give them a few days, and they'll probably be bouncing back to know when we train and when we go on again. So my hat is off to the lads. And they never say die. And I think for anyone watching G outsider, like, that's what you want. Like, even for the small little fishes as we are, we keep fighting, and it shows everyone out there this is a great game. Keep playing it, and you never know what the story will be.
Well, thanks, Davey. We're looking forward to the next day.
Thank you.
Well, there's no doubt they'll be trying very hard the next day. You can guarantee that, Liam Sheedy. He's entitled to be proud of his players. And I suppose when you're on the sideline, and any time the referee blows the whistle against you, you think you're being hard done by.
Yeah, listen, I suppose you know, these are all tight margins, and in fairness to Brian Gavin, he only has that split second to make a decision as well. And over the course of the day, I thought the breaks were more or less even, to be honest with you. I didn't see anything that meant it was a favour to one side or the other. And Clare were probably lucky, as I said. They got that 30 seconds at the finish that they may not have got, and likewise, they could have ended up with 14 against 15 at the start. That was the roller coaster game that we had today. There was for and against. People in advantageous positions, but at the end of the day, the biggest thing he said there is he should be very proud of his players. They left it all out in Croke Park. There's not too many teams having had 3 hammer blows that would have managed to come up, and the number 2 cornerback, don't let them come up and put the ball over the bar. So I think he's dead right in one thing he said. Give them a few days off. I think he needs to understand how much a day like today will take out of those players. The less they do this week, the better, in my view.
Yeah, I was asking Cyril that question just a moment ago, and I'll put it to you as well as the manager. What will happen tonight? Will you let them go for a couple of pints tonight?
Well, look, I think the bunch of players that he has, I think he's a unique bunch in terms of they won't be out. They don't, to me, I don't see any of them that would be into, heavy drinking sessions or whatever. I think if they want a bottle or two, they can have a bottle. If they don't want one, they can wait. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the most important thing they want out of September is an All-Ireland medal. And if they have to wait till the 28th to get their hands on that, I think they'd be prepared to wait. And if they don't drink till Christmas, I think they'll be okay.
Well, see, the big thing is, I would argue, is a championship match, it takes you a couple of weeks to build up nicely to it. It will certainly take you a week to come down. And that's where, for me, there's a bigger challenge ahead for Clare, because of, as you said there, some of them have to go home now, get their heads right for next Sunday or next Saturday night.
They'll be going home this evening, the 14, I can guarantee you that. The 14 will be going home this evening with taxis down the road and getting into a pool, because they're going back into it for Saturday. They have an All-Ireland to play. And that's a big thing to them. When Clare were in that situation years ago, they weren't allowed to play a Munster final, under 21. The seniors weren't allowed to play. These have dovetailed completely, and the dream is still alive. And no doubt will take a lot out of them. But if they could win next Saturday with the under-21s, that's out of the way. And then they're saying, gee, this could be fantastic. We could win 2 All-Irelands in 1 year, probably never done before in Clare.
Sure, yeah. As much as we praise Clare for hanging on against those hammer blows they got in the second half, I'm sure for every Clare supporter there was that moments of dread, and we're going to relive them now, when Cork actually took the lead in this match.
And as the boys said, they came so late. Here's Joyce, line ball going up along here. A typical Cork, to get any little chance at all, and they still have the legs. Fell to the right man. If you put money on it, say £5,000 for a charity bet, who's goes on? Pat Hawke to score over the bar. He just has this. He kept Cork in the game with frees and a few from play. But he has the left and right, and it looked like from where we were, that was it.
It's the economy of the swing is what impressed me most. He had a man on his back and another coming at him at pace.
But look at this.
I think the lad who probably didn't go in time. He didn't expect.
Look at Donovan. He's shoved up from cornerback. He's threw caution to the wind. They were lucky probably to get the chance, probably way into injury time over the bar. And at this stage, there was only going to be 1 minute. Fitzy at this stage would be relieved, because deep down he'd feel, oh good God, after playing so well and get beaten. But the two boys know the score. Jim Barry Murphy will be delighted that Cork, they got back with goals. They didn't really play to the top of the form, but they probably played as well as they're let. And that's a lot as well. These boys might know one another very well. They'd be in college together. They'd actually be playing together. So another big day is coming, and it's going to be fantastic, because they played hurling the way it should be played.
And we should compliment Pat Horgan and Colin Ryan on their composure today, because there was so much talk about the pressure lads like this are under, and they stood up to free after free and score after score.
Yeah, like it doesn't get any bigger for a free taker than All-Ireland final day, and both of them were impeccable. Now, okay, Colin missed two, but in fairness to him, some of the strikes he had in the first half and even in the second half again, and he got his points in play as well. And Patrick Horgan, I mean, they're very, very lucky to have ace marksmen. I mean, if either one of those had a really off day, you know, they were in trouble today. That would have been the difference between both teams. They were still in their 90% strike rate today, and as I said, they should be. They're very, very lucky to have two free takers of their calibre in their team.
And even the bounce back one when Colin Ryan had missed 2 or 3, the bounce back one he got was out under the Hogan stand, a very difficult free, and he nailed it.
But the big thing was that one was far out. He went to it. He didn't stand up. He was boys here, Seamus or leave it done well from the club hurling. When he missed the two, the tendency is, well, I mightn't go next one, or the manager calls him. He went straight to it. That's what you want. I'm the free taker, even though I missed 1 or 2. Go on again. And like you know, he had a fantastic game, and he's after a fantastic year.
Cork scored 3 in the second.
And it was a very, very special day, and you seem to, in my view, to have got more pleasure out of it than most days.
There's an expression in Irish that says "Lord our sail of beyond." It's one of the real days of our life, and that's what today was. Des, right from beginning to end. You know, the minor match was terrific, great win for Waterford, but the senior game started at such a pace, and the ferocious exchanges that were there. You know, right from the very start, Clare laying down the law, laying out their team very, very well. Their matchups absolutely perfect, and from beginning to end, I think after the first 10 or 15 minutes of kind of sorting out, the game really, really opened up, and it was one of the All-Irelands that I will never, ever forget. I was so proud to be a Clare man there in the crowd today, and as you can see from my voice.
It's not like you to be lippy in the crowd. Well, don't know, like Cork almost won it, but on the other hand, did they get out of jail?
I'm not so sure about getting out of jail, Des, to be honest. You know, when on 72 minutes Cork were winning by a point, and it was 2 minutes of at a time that was all that was left. I think Cork will see that it wasn't their best performance, but all credit due to them. They never ever gave up, and they always stayed in the game and were ahead at the very end.
For the first time.
For the first time.
Yeah. Ollie, the neutral, what do you think?
Well, again, absolutely. It was a classic final, really. You know, everyone alluded to the 2009 and 2010 All-Ireland finals as being the greatest All-Ireland finals. But I think today, was every bit as close. It was certainly up there. The game ebbed and flowed. You know, from a neutral, there was times when you wanted Cork to come back into it. For a finish, you were screaming for Clare to get the equaliser because they thoroughly deserved it. It would have been a huge injustice had Clare not got the equalising point today.
All right, then. Well, let's go through it then. You made the point about Clare's strong start. Matchups and
that was the secret of Clare's first half display, really. You know, it was the way they matched up from the very start. They had Pat O'Connor on Conor Lahan, Brendan Bowler on Pat Cronin, and Conor Ryan on Seamus Harnedy. But this man here at cornerback, Donald O'Donovan, he was absolutely brilliant. He was fantastic. Now, one of the things we always criticise in Clare were we weren't great in the air, but today they were just fantastic in the air. You know, Conor Ryan is in the back, Brendan Bowler, Pat O'Connor, all in turn. What a display by Conor Ryan. You know, only his third championship game, very little experience, but he did this at under 21, of course, and he totally dominated the centre. That was the springboard for all the Clare's attacks in the first half. And then when the ball went forward, you had the forwards moving all over the place. You had the usual work rate, the taking of great points. But ultimately, all of that domination, look at Donovan here in this. Just shoves off his man. This is a man playing in his first All-Ireland, passes the ball out to David McInerney. You know, the interplay, the way Davy had the team set up, you know, the understanding they have between them. You know, this must have been practiced over and over again in Cusack Park. And then Donald will talk about how the forwards played. But the backs covering for each other, the domination in the air, which we have never had in Clare. You know, so that must have taken massive practice and was a huge surprise. And then when the ball went up to the forwards, a different tactic altogether.
It's worth saying that about the ball in the air going into both attacks. There was a marked difference between how both sets of forwards approached it. A lot of the Cork half forwards were going up with the hand most of the time, and outside of Seamus Harnedy were having great difficulty in winning any first phase possession, if you like. But if you looked at the Clare players today, more often than not, they were bringing the ball to ground and working from there. Yeah. And I think that's something that should be looked at.
It was very similar, actually, to Galway last year. You know, when you can win it in the air, get it down to the ground, and Clare are brilliant at moving on to that ball in the ground.
All right, so that was the start then, Ali and Clare. Why do you think Cork struggled in the first 10, 15 minutes?
You know, it's hard to know. Coming out, I felt that Cork looked, I suppose, the less nervous team But I think Clare, from the get-go, just imposed themselves on the game physically. You know, I mentioned there about their half-back line. I think that was the springboard, you know, for the entire game. They completely dominated there. Cork tried numerous combinations, but just couldn't seem to get a foothold on it. But there was a couple of key moments, and this is one in particular that we looked at. You see Christopher Joyce here. Just one thing I noticed about Clare all through the game. They constantly put pressure on the man in possession. You know, the easy thing to do is to look for the support player, but they constantly, you know, went towards the man in possession. You see the same here now. Conor O'Sullivan's on the ball. In this case here, he's actually forced to pass the ball back to Anthony Nash, you know, to go 20 or 30 yards. But you can see all the Clare forwards are converging on the man in possession again, forcing him backwards, forcing them under pressure. You know, this was one moment, I think, halfway through the second half. Daniel Carney here passing the ball again. Conor Sullivan. This sequence of play lasted 9 or 10 minutes. You can see again Conor O'Sullivan here. All the Clare players are pushing towards him.